Oh man, what a rough one, bro. Um, it's very funny because I was before the game started, I was reading some tweets about how some Bulls fans that are like desperate to keep the pick. They're like, "Oh my God, the NBA basically just wants us to lose the pick to the Spurs. This is insane. I can't believe it. Like we somehow got the win against the Celtics. Now we're gonna get a win that we shouldn't probably get against the Milwaukee Bucks tonight because Giannis and Lillard are both out." Um, that's what I was seeing on the timeline, and I'm just like, it's very funny because it's like I saw it, and I'm just like, yeah, the Bulls have a better chance of winning tonight, but with the way that the way that the Bulls have played at home this year, I don't think anything's guaranteed. We saw this Bulls team lose to the Utah Jazz, who were at that time they had no wins on the season, and they didn't. I don't, if I remember correctly, they didn't have Laurie that game. So, I don't think anything at any point really is guaranteed with the Bulls, and so it's just very funny just to see that before the game happened, where it's just like everyone's like, oh my God, we're gonna win tonight. And so whether you're a fan of that or you're not a fan of that, I just find it hilarious because it's like, yeah, we're definitely gonna win tonight because Giannis and Lillard are out, right? Right, guys, we're definitely gonna win, right? As you can see, and I'm sure that you all watched, the Bulls did not win tonight. And it's not shocking because this team at home is just god awful. The only reason why the Bulls even have like a close to 500 record right now, which this hasn't updated yet, but they're 13-17. But the only reason why the Bulls have like a close to 500 record right now is because they've actually been a pretty good away team. They've done really well on the road, including one win at TD Garden, which is insane that they got that one win there. But the Bulls just in general on the road, they got the win at Madison Square Garden earlier this year. They've won against the Atlanta Hawks there in Atlanta. They've won against the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. So you can just honestly go down the list where you're just like, wow, this team actually has some pretty solid road games where they've come out and actually won on the road. But when it comes to them at home, this still isn't updated, by the way. This team is god awful at home. They're 4-11 now at home. Like, that's insane to me. I don't even know how that's possible, but for a team that I expect to not be that good, suddenly now we're looking at this team, we're just like, man, I don't, what is it? Like, you go on the road and you look a lot better, but Jesus, man, like, it's just been this bad so far to start the year. Now, they're not the only team where it's like, oh, they've been a little bit better, or they've been better on the road. Like, I mean, the Detroit Pistons right under them, you could say, have been kind of similar. But it's just so appalling just to see it, where you're just like, wow, like they're actually just like they're an over 500 team on the road so far this year, and yet when they're at home, they are garbage at home this year. So from here on out, when it comes to any Bulls games from moving forward, if they're at home and it's like you see, oh, the opposing team stars are out, just think, oh yeah, the Bulls are also suck at home. Nothing's guaranteed. If it was an away game, I think the Bulls actually have a good chance of where it's like, oh, this player's out or whoever's out, like, yeah, well, they'll probably win tonight. But if it's ever when the Bulls are at home and it's like, oh, these players are out tonight, you could probably just put it down as maybe an L already, because this Bulls team just never seems to play well at home this year. So it's very funny just to look at. It's also kind of funny because it's like, hey, you just beat the Boston Celtics in TD Garden, and now you lost to the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis and Lillard at the United Center. Doesn't make any sense in my head, but the NBA is weird. So things just kind of even out in some way or fashion at the end of the day. Welcome in, though. Appreciate everyone being here. Whether you're watching the VOD or watching the stream, I do appreciate you being here. What's going on, Raul? Well, that's probably not worth going into details that much, except a lot of mysteries, but happy holidays, Duncan, everyone. I have a few things I do want to go over. I think there's actually some decent plays ran tonight, if we get to that. I know I haven't gone through much film breakdown recently, but there are some stuff that we can look at. There's also some stuff that I do want to talk about, because I will say this. So I don't know who's even watching right now, but for anyone that is watching the VOD, there is no stream on the 26th. So the Bulls play again on the 26th. They face Atlanta on Thursday. Christmas is Wednesday. But the 26th, I'm just gonna go ahead and say there is gonna be no stream. So I do want to talk tonight a little bit about some things, and yeah, and then 26 is no stream then, and yeah, we'll just go from there. But that being said, I do think that tonight is like not exactly like the best night to like go over film breakdown stuff and kind of talk heavily about the game. I do want to say this though, because I know that there's a lot of people already kind of like discussing like, man, like the Bulls need Giddey, I guess, or they need Lonzo. I don't necessarily think that's the case, because most specifically what I mean by that is that people were tweeting out today, and some Bulls content creators were tweeting it out, and then there were some Bulls fans in general. They're like, oh, the Bulls really need Giddey to run their offense. And I'm just like, well, the Bulls won in TD Garden without Giddey, so I don't think it's necessarily that. I did the Bulls offense, actually, if you ask me, like, I know it looks like, wow, the Bulls suck tonight, 40% from the field and 21% from three. But in terms of actually generating shots tonight, I actually think that they did a good job of generating shots tonight. I think the Bulls did a really good job of finding open three-point shooters, attacking the basket when it was necessary, and continuously pushing pace and trying to move the ball around. It just didn't go in tonight. That's what happened tonight. The Bulls, even though that they only made 36 shots tonight on 90 attempts and only 10 made threes, they still had 27 assists. They had 26 assists before the garbage time minutes happened. So I don't necessarily think it was, oh, they need Lonzo and Giddey to run the offense. I don't think that's the case. I really don't. I don't think this offense is lost without those two. And the problem is that when you say it in this sort of scenario where the Bulls, again, they had 27 assists tonight. They continued to actually get open looks from three. It just didn't go down. There were also some missed shots at the rim tonight. And there was just some missed open looks tonight, just in general for the Bulls. But I mean, look at, like, you got Bio was 0 for 5. Zach was 1 for 6. Vooch was 2 for 8. Kobe's 2 for 6. I mean, Horton Tucker, Phillips is 0 for 3. Guys just missed threes tonight. And there were a lot of open looks tonight, in my opinion, that we see from usually this season, the Bulls like make a decent chunk of them. Not saying that they're amazing, but they at least make a decent chunk of these open threes. I don't think this team is missing or is lost without Giddey or lost without Lonzo when it comes to the offense. Now, I think you can say defensively, I think this team looks a little bit more lost without Lonzo out there, because Lonzo defensively this year has been fantastic. But if you're going to tell me that this team is lost on offense without Giddey and Lonzo, I don't know what you're really looking at. And the issue with you saying that is that neither of those two guys are necessarily shot makers, and what the Bulls needed tonight was shot makers to actually just make some shots. Zach obviously didn't exactly have the best night tonight, and so he's your main shot maker. And then Vooch, he got off to a nice start, but he then fell off really quickly after that. So your two shot makers were making shots. Then after that, your other guys didn't make shots either. So, in general, just everybody wasn't making shots tonight. And so you're going to tell me that Giddey and Lonzo are going to be your, like, going to add in terms of shot making. We went over it last stream where Lonzo's three-point percentage this year is actually not good. He's shooting under 30% from three-point range, and that's basically the only shot he takes. So he's not going to help you there. And Giddey, I mean, yeah, I think Giddey in some aspects could have helped tonight, but I don't necessarily think Giddey is going to suddenly miraculously make this offense look better tonight. I think if everyone's missing shots, then every single time the offense looks bad. But if the offense is making shots, then it looks amazing. So I just think at the end of the day, you're not really analyzing the game properly if you're telling me, oh, this team looks lost on offense without Lonzo or Giddey. I don't think that's the case. I really don't. I think this team actually looked fine on offense. They just didn't make their shots tonight. So you live and die by the three ball at the end of the day. So I really just, I don't understand that. I think defensively for the Bulls, we saw a lot of missed switches tonight, which was really upsetting to look at. I saw a lot of times where the defense should have switched, and you saw guys just look at each other like, why didn't you switch? Or they thought the guy was supposed to go with them. So that was frustrating to look at. And I think in terms of contesting the 3-point shot, this was worse compared to the Boston Celtics. And I understand that it's like when you face the Celtics, you know that they take over 53s per game, so it's like, oh, we got to contest every 3 possible. Tonight, though, you can kind of see that they were trying to really load up on the paint because the Bucks just have serious size advantage, right? So you have Portis and Lopez really dominating or trying to get like interior post position, and it wasn't just those two. I mean, we saw Chris Middleton even trying to post up, which makes sense because this Bulls team is small. But we saw the defense was like heavily trying to like protect the paint tonight, and they were giving up the open 3-point shot a little bit more than they should have, and it burned them. Hence the Bucks just absolutely killing them from 3-point range. So there was that was going on. That was overall pretty frustrating. And I don't think the Bulls just, I mean, the fast break points for the Bulls, there were some missed opportunities on the fast break, but they should have had more in terms of this. But the reason why I say this, though, in terms of the paint, like how the defense was played tonight, I mean, look, the Bucks only had 36 points in the paint tonight, and that was by design by the Bulls. Like, they were like, hey, we're not going to let them score on the interior tonight. We're going to really try to force them on the perimeter, and the Bucks just burned them. So props for the Bucks for making the shots, but also the Bulls' defense on the perimeter wasn't good enough tonight. So I think that's problematic when you look at that. But yet again, I just want to point it out, like the Bucks didn't shoot like over 50% from the field, so they just killed you from 3-point range. But also then compared to the Bulls' offense, the Bucks had less assists than the Bulls tonight. They but then obviously in terms of field goal percentage, like they had 6% better, which is not like amazing, but the 3-point percentage was the big difference. So once again, I'm just pointing it out, like, hey, I think tonight the Bulls offense, like in terms of generating looks and trying to get within the flow of the offense, I think it looked fine. But the shot making just wasn't there. I mean, guys are bricking wide open 3-point looks tonight. Guys were missing some layups tonight, so it's just one of those games. I mean, I think I saw a total of 3 in and out shots tonight when it came to from the Bulls, and even one late by Buzelis where it was like halfway down and just didn't go in. So, you know, it is what it is. You live and die by the 3-ball with this team. As you can see, the Bulls offense just was in no man's land tonight in terms of just making shots. But that being said, of the 36 makes you had, 27 were assisted. So I don't think that there was a problem in terms of what was happening tonight. I think it's just they just didn't make shots, which sucks. So it is what it is. So I think it's funny because everyone's like, oh, the Bulls gonna win tonight. And so if you're trying to keep the pick, you're like, God damn it. But if you're all about like, hey, let's make sure that I said this team's gonna win 40 games and this is a win tonight, and then they don't win tonight. And I just find it hilarious that happens tonight. So once again, just for the new people coming in, never trust the Bulls at home this year. They are a very solid road team this year. They absolutely suck at home. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but this team is just garbage at home this year. So maybe Reinsdorf's willpower is actually much bigger than he realizes, but and his curse. But right now, this Bulls team at home is garbage. They are now 4-11 on the season at home. That's insane to me, but it is what it is. Peel shot better at Steve Peel in and out, a couple in and out threes. So yeah, I think I actually think Patrick has looked pretty solid in the past couple of games, and he's still on a minutes restriction. So I'm happy to see that for Pat, that he's looking better. So keep it up. I appreciate what he's doing. So obviously, again, it's like minutes restriction, so it's not like the best score line for him, but it's minutes restriction, so I can live with it at the end of the day. Sorry, I keep losing chat, unfortunately. I thought the same thing. It's just they couldn't make any shots. Yeah, I don't think the Bulls' offense looked like bad. It just they just didn't make their shots. Like if the Bulls' offense had like multiple shot clock violations, whereas like nothing happened on the offensive possession, and guys weren't moving, and the ball wasn't swung around, and the tempo wasn't picked up, like, yeah, we can talk about the Bulls' offense looking lost. But in my opinion, the Bulls got plenty of good open looks tonight. They just didn't make them. So it is what it is. Nice game, the worst shooting performance of all year. I think it is. Yeah, I think the previous worst was 25% from 3-point range for the Bulls. This was now obviously the new season low, 20%. the best average game from a couple guys like P1. But yeah, Patrick Williams looked pretty solid on both ends of the court tonight. Smith had that really nice overall second quarter. But after that, though, just there wasn't much else really to talk about. Offensive rebounding could have been better, attempting too more often, too many guys. Then way too far away at the arc and start backing up. At least have two guys stay put for a second. Well, once again, though, I've always had this discussion with people. Like, I understand everyone's like, oh, we need to try more for offensive rebounds. But if you try more for offensive rebounds, then you're more susceptible to giving up the fast break. And this, I think it's been like noted this year that the Bulls' transition defense has been god awful this year. So I personally would be okay not trying to get an offensive rebound if that means we stop a fast break opportunity. That's always the way I've always looked at it. I understand that there's the whole argument. It's like, well, if you actually try to have more guys contest for offensive rebounds, then more guys for the other team actually have to stay back so they can't leak out. The problem is, though, is that if the shot hits the rim, there's a good chance that the opposing team gets the rebound anyway, even if like you have multiple guys contesting just because of positioning. So I just personally would just always just have guys run back. And I would rather just do that. Bucks in terms of fast break opportunities tonight, I think only at 10. Yeah, so I can live with it. I know the other issue is just that the Bulls, in terms of this specific game, the Bulls' lack of size is just obvious. You're not going to out-rebound this team in terms of, like, significantly. You might go even, but you just at a severe size disadvantage against this Bucks team, even without Giannis. Just kind of all around the court, you're just at a size disadvantage. So it's okay. I can be okay with not trying to get offensive rebounds. For his production, wise usage is too high. I can't understand that. My only thing is just this though. If you're saying that in terms of this year, sure. But if you're saying that in terms of just overall for Kobe White, my only thing is just that he is kind of having the same usage as last year. So if you're gonna say that in general for Kobe, well, I'm like, well, last year he had basically the same usage. So I don't know what exactly that phrasing is. I'm gonna assume that you meant for this year though, because like Kobe this year, yeah, he's been worse. But in terms of usage this year compared to last year, it's very similar for Kobe. And obviously Kobe last year had a career year. So as you can see, the usage percentage is basically the exact same. We know what Kobe's capable of with this amount of usage. It's just that this year he's just been worse so far. So, yeah. You're talking about Kobe and his interest maybe affecting his play, which makes sense because it's similar to Zach last year. That's my hope, honestly, with Kobe, is just that, like, because he has been in the injury report multiple times for multiple different injuries. But, I mean, it honestly looks like he just doesn't have the same lift. But, yeah, I don't know, bro. I am really concerned when it comes to Kobe. He has very clearly, though, just not looked the same. It's been very astonishing to see this slump now. It's like it's an entire month. So, yeah, I don't know, bro. I really don't know when it comes to him. I'm hoping it is just like a nagging injury, so he isn't at 100%. So, like, when you're just not 100%, like, you can't jump as high, you can't finish as good, and your jump shot just could be off just because of that. We talked about Lonzo with the wrist, right? I mean, Lonzo is back and playing, but he's shooting under 30% this year from 3. So, I'm hoping it's just that for Kobe, and like, I was hoping that the break where they have 4 days off would help him kind of get back on track, but it clearly hasn't. So, yeah, not good, not looking good for Kobe at all. If it really is the injuries, then it makes a lot of sense, but I'm worried that it's not the injuries. That's my only thing. So he's out there playing, so we kind of just have to judge him with how he's playing, just like how people did with Zach last year. It's very similar at the end of the day. The moment you are making yourself available and set foot on the floor, excuses go out the window if you can't or don't feel like playing, then don't suit up. I mean, yeah. That just like how people did with Zach last year, like people were saying Zach is shit last year. Hence, yeah, I mean, yeah, he wasn't playing well. And he wasn't 100%, but he was playing. So, yeah, it's just going to be the same thing at the end of the day. Don't worry, Kobe getting this transfer to superstar anytime now. Yeah, I think that honestly, for a lot of people, that dream is dead. I think even for King in the fourth quarter, who has been the biggest Kobe supporter, that dream is dead. And maybe he didn't even have that dream. He just was happy that he was playing well. It seems like they're playing a better style offense overall. Shots are either going to fall or not, but if they want to keep that pick, this is strategy to do some days. You're going to be off. Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, I think for a lot of people that want to keep the pick, like, this was like a rejoicing thing to see, because you would think that they're supposed to win this game, but they lost. So, hey, you're now 4 games under 500. The Kings should get a win here so that they're above the Bulls in standings, but actually, yeah. So I mean, hell, the Kings are also now 13-7. So yeah, I mean, the Kings the Kings. Oh God. Don't worry. There's other teams struggling just as much in terms of problems. In general, take a look at the opponent's win percentage in home games this year. Maybe they're going to have a lot easier matchups coming up in January. I know for sure a bunch of home games versus bad teams. But here's the thing, though, Rob. They've had bad home losses to the Utah Jazz this year. Like, it's been bad overall for the Bulls this year. But yet they somehow won against the Orlando Magic when Banchero and Wagner were both playing. But yeah, I mean, it's been insane just to look at. I mean, look, they lost this game. This is pretty garbage to lose. So that is Cleveland. That is Houston. So I mean, there's that. Lost to Memphis. Lost to Boston. Let's see. You won against Brooklyn. You lost to Indiana. You lost to Philly. Lost to Boston. Lost to Milwaukee. So I mean, yeah, maybe overall better teams, but I still look at the Utah game like that's not good. But yeah, you won in TD Garden. So I don't know. It's just odd. It's an odd overall thing to look at, that they're 4-11 at home but 9-6 on the road, and have beaten some like really good teams on the road. It's very funny to me. Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, if you don't make a certain amount of threes, like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Hence what the Bulls had issues with the entire time DeRozan was here. If you don't make a certain amount of threes, you're probably going to lose the game. It's just how it goes. Percent shoot off is 10 is best in the. Oh, you mean for Kobe? That's different as the Bulls when they rebound. They go too far into the paint as a group, and then the long rebound ends up in the hands of the opposition. Well, that's bad positioning by everybody. That's on everybody to just be better positioning wise. I agree that some go too far into the paint, but I think that instead of us thinking, oh, they gotta go into the paint, they gotta go in certain spots. And we see that too many times guys don't go to their spot all the time. So it's like, it's not just, oh, there's too many times we see the Bulls go into the paint too far and not get the defensive rebound. It's also that guys maybe don't go into the paint, but they go to the wrong spot. You have to like specifically go to specific spots to make sure that you can get the defensive rebound. And they just don't. So, yeah. No, it's only 36%, but celebrating a small thing for Kobe. Whoop. I mean, yeah. I mean, small things, I guess. Let's just be real though. I mean, Kobe just did not have that good of a game. No one really did, but like some of the stuff that Kobe was doing, I was just very confused at. He took some shots in the paint that I don't understand. Some turnovers that I don't understand from him, because people that have been praising Kobe, the thing that has been the big thing has been his ball handling has been so good. And there's just some moments with his ball handling where I'm like, that doesn't look like Kobe that I'm used to seeing. And it's just bad decisions which lead to the turnover, or he loses the ball in an unexpected fashion. So, yeah, 4 for 10 before 36%. He hit some catch and shoot threes tonight, so that's good to see. But it just hasn't looked good overall. I know already people are going to be starting talking about like the whole do we have a talk about zero? We've been talking about zero for a long time on this channel now. But yeah, I think that for a lot of people, this is kind of like, hey, this might be a wake up call. Like, I don't know what really Kobe is. Like, if you thought that he was gonna hit that like sort of ceiling of superstar or all-star, it's probably not gonna happen. Even if he isn't 100% right now, just some of the things that we're seeing is a little bit disturbing. Now I don't know if you guys saw that that thread by like Morrison Bankson or whatever his name is. Sorry, I don't remember his name. Let me actually go get his name just because I want to actually get his name right. But he was discussing about how the reason why Kobe's having some struggles this year is because the Bulls' offensive system, where Kobe adjusted to the Bulls' slower system last year under DeRozan, and like he adjusted to kind of being like the second guy, because Vooch was having such a bad season last year, but. And you say like the Bulls' new system where like they shoot so many threes has taken away Kobe's like ability to be like an ISO playmaker. My thing is though is that I don't think Kobe was that last year. Like I don't think Kobe last year was an ISO playmaker. I think Kobe last year was very much kind of doing what he's doing this year. I think he's taking more threes than last year, but that shouldn't be like the like Achilles heel for Kobe, where he's just like all of a sudden he's shooting so many threes that his offensive game is going to garbage. If anything, like I think that it should help him this year. But his thread was just so interesting to look at because I'm just like I don't really agree with a lot of these things that's being said. So I mean, here, look, like this is the thread. So it's like Kobe's offensive performance isn't happening in isolation. It's a side effect decision to play run and gun ball. Kobe had the finest offensive season last year in terms of OBPM. Mostly a methodical half-court offense that revolved around DeRozan's ball gravity, right? Which is true. This season, AK Bulls decided to move towards an emphasis of transition basketball team's offensive effects, right? So pace, offensive rating is higher. Turnovers is also is higher, right? Offensive rating is actually not higher, excuse me, but it's still you see the difference in pace and turnover ratio. AK saw Kobe plays his finest offensive basketball, decided he needed to keep chasing transition offensive dragon. Sure, the Bulls are almost faster, but they're less efficient offense, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't think they're less efficient. I just think that they're having more turnovers and they're having problems with seriously like having consistent shooting nights. The biggest problem for them though is that they're not getting paint opportunities, but they haven't done that in AK's entire time he's been here. So it's been just three ball heavy, right? That's kind of been the live and die by this team. But it's like then he says this: Kobe White so far doesn't look suited for this style of play AK told Billy to play this season. No fault on Kobe. Kobe tightened his handle to become a complementary offensive contributor in pick and roll, catch and shoot threes. Instead, Kobe's now relegated to drive and kick possessions. And I'm just like, wait, what? Like, he's getting a bunch of catch and shoot threes this year. He's getting pick and roll opportunities this year. In fact, I would argue he's getting more catch and shoot threes this year. It's not necessarily drive and kick for Kobe, which he's done more of that this year, sure, but he's getting a lot of these catch and shoot opportunities. I don't understand the problem. I think Kobe himself has just not looked that great. And so like running gun ball where it's like, oh, this is the problem for Kobe. Like I hesitate to say that this is the problem for Kobe. I think that once again, I think that the scouting report is out on him. So teams are just better suited to play up against him. And I think that you're seeing the limitations with him when it comes to the ability to score at the rim. I think people expected suddenly that his interior scoring was just going to like take a massive leap this year for whatever reason. And very clearly that is just not the case. So it's more reliant on the 3-point shot, and I think that's that in terms of just how Kobe is built, I think that's fine. However, I do think that in terms of bad decisions most recently, and I think that when it comes to Kobe's I guess more I don't know how to necessarily explain this, but like because now that there isn't necessarily a DeMar DeRozan where the team's like all like hounding on to him, he's kind of like in this weird zone where he's like, oh, I gotta start creating for others maybe a little bit more, where it leads to bad decisions. So maybe there's that, but in terms of like shot quality for Kobe, I don't think it's been any worse. I think it's been honestly relatively fine. He just needs to start making some of these open looks more often. So I again, like we've been saying, slump for Kobe. I think it's no longer a slump. I think it's now officially like he has had a really rough stretch. So now it's not just like, oh, is in the middle of a slump. It's a, oh God, is this going to happen for the rest of the year? I don't know. I hope not. But for other Bulls fans, it's I think it's honestly starting to it's now the time to start looking at like, okay, with Kobe's contract situation now that's coming up here, is it really just it might just be time to like really start looking to other options for him. Not saying that he's been bad in like or like overall bad. He's been bad this month, but I don't think it's been overall a horrific season. I just think now it's like, okay, now it's time to maybe start thinking about his future. And maybe that future is no longer with this team. So I don't know. Thoughts? Uh, that team maybe Indy. I don't know. I don't know when it comes to the next losses. Do I have best tips for Kobe sign him cheap next season? More signs of life used there at the moment. I'm lucky serious that Bulls bad for a while. Should take a reclamation project player. If I'm gonna take a reclamation project player, it's not gonna be Ben Simmons. I'm sorry. I would not personally do that. And I'm sure that the Nets are not going to be willing to take Kobe right now. It doesn't really necessarily fit with their timeline. White Space already catching Zach. So he is. Yeah. Kobe's a medium speed system player, probably in the system not suited, and Kobe isn't that good either. Well, I don't see that's just a weird thing about it. When people say to me like, oh, he's better suited for like the slower paced system, I don't know if that's the case. I actually think that he should be very capable of playing in this type of system that we're seeing right now. But if he isn't, then he is suddenly now much more limited than we really thought. Like if he isn't able to play in a high octane, run and gun ball system, that's a problem. Like that means that a lot of teams are not going to be looking for him. Kobe's a 6'2", feels that way for sure. Yeah, he's 6'5". Well, let's say 6'4". But this is where it's not just height. Wingspan matters. He has a short wingspan. So no wonder why he feels shorter. He just has a short wingspan. He just doesn't take up as much space or has much more physical tools than others. His decline defense to me is one of the most glaring things. I think that more teams have officially looked at the team and like, yeah, we're going to seek him out. Which is like, that didn't happen in last year because they were so heavily like, oh, we can go after Vooch, we can go after DeRozan. This year though, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go after Kobe. So yeah. You saw it took below average last year to take a small step on defense. Well, Kobe last year, if you look at the numbers, Kobe White's defense last year was actually not good. Like Kobe White's defense was actually on Zach level last year. And Zach had a horrible season last year in terms of defense, right? Like Zach's defense last year was atrocious. Kobe's defense last year when he was trying was actually like the same level. It was like basically the same. He was not a good defender last year. It's just that people have this like idea in their head like, oh yeah, he was trying hard and defenses or opposing teams stopped like going after him. I think opposing teams like stopped like trying to like full out isolate him, but teams are still looking to try to get the mismatch against him. And teams would still very much go after him in terms of the pick and roll. It wasn't like all of a sudden like, oh yeah, we don't go after Kobe. Like it was less, but I think now this year you're seeing that, oh well, Zach's a better defender than people thought, so we got to go after Kobe. And that's now what's been happening recently, especially on mismatches, which is not surprising. That's not the big issue. It's that he just has looked worse defensively overall. On the perimeter when he doesn't have he's not up against a mismatch. Kobe had a streak that gave people too much hope. I think that might be the case, but I hope not. Again, 18 points per game in the NBA is not easy. I'm not saying that's easy. It's just that we're at the point now where we're like, okay, you're not probably ever going to get to 20, or 20 plus consistently. So you're probably at 18. So you're Jamal Crawford, pretty much. A lot of people thought Mikal Bridges could be a superstar, but he's an elite role player because of a stretch. Yeah, I mean, I told people that the Mikal Bridges stretch was not going to last, but yet I'm wrong about that. Other people are like, no, you're wrong, Duncan. He's now a 25 point per game scorer. I'm like, no, he's not. But yeah, scouting report is out on Kobe. Like, it's just out now. It's not shocking. His paint scoring is way down this year. I believe it is. I'll bring a basketball reference. So again, this does not include tonight's game, but I do think Kobe's paint scoring is just down this year. His 3-point scoring is also now officially down this year. I mean, last year he shot 66% at the rim last year. Like, that's a very good percentage for a guard. This year it's 63%, so it's a little bit worse. But I mean, and honestly, I think I actually just think the big thing is this, bro. Like, he's just not getting threes. Okay, I'll quickly look at layups. I mean, layups is also just a tad bit down. The other thing too this year, what someone did point this out, is that Kobe hasn't made a dunk this year. So that just, again, this either tells me that it's like he really isn't like 100%, or he actually has hit the decline. Like, I'm being dead serious. Like, I know it's like, well, he shouldn't be declining. He's only 24. Small guards, bro, I don't know. Like, you really never know when to like actually like hit the decline. So it just doesn't maybe have the same lift as last year. At the end of the day. So yeah, I don't know. It's just been an overall decline, kind of where no matter where you look at him. Yeah, last year was peak. It probably was peak last year, maybe. Again, scouting report wasn't out on him. He was guarded by, not very clearly not the best defender. This year, it's kind of a little bit more ebbs and flows. I mean, I think Zach's still obviously the best player, so you have that. Like, he's going to take the best defender, but I just think teams are a little bit more out on him. Like, yeah, we got to actually go after him. Make sure he doesn't like suddenly like heat up. I just would say to suit the high speed the most on this team. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's probably Io, Buzelis, and then Jalen Smith is like the three guys that I look at as like the high pace like fits them the best. I did see this, Rob, but yeah. We saw Smith, people have Vucevic live against tonight. It looked even worse than last night. Yeah, Billy actually might just be trying to tank now. I don't know. That lineup is just bad. I can't believe Billy rated it out there again just because Portis and Lopez are out there. It's a bad lineup. Like, it just can't. I think people played with Vucevic and Smith last time. Maybe I'm wrong. I think you're right, Rob, but like it's just in general though, the Smith Vucevic lineup is stupid. I hate it. That probably makes a big difference. Is look how some players can only thrive until teams actually know who they are, and counter get he's very heavily scouted next to Kobe, so they shift. High centers on Gibby defensively so common after they saw it use the work hard. Yeah, I mean that's how it always goes. I mean this happens all like I hate to bring baseball again, but like it's like baseball's the same thing. It's like, okay, guy gets called up from AAA, we don't know him, so but give it 3 weeks, we'll know the scouting report, so we'll know to throw a slider at the outside corner every single pitch. Like that's how it goes, Baseball is a little bit different because everything's tracked a little bit easier, but with Kobe, I mean, I do think that, teams are just a little bit more out on him right now. They're like, oh, yeah. Kobe starts so slow with shooting efficiency. The only other excuse I can give is something about pregame warm-up routine. Maybe he doesn't get as many near-game shots with others getting more. But, like, if that is the case, then, like, wouldn't you say that, like, then Zach should also be struggling? I mean, I know Zach struggled tonight. But like Zach also just isn't getting as many shots as before. I mean, this was one of those games where I was really hoping Zach would like really try to like beg for the ball because the team couldn't get a shit going. But like Zach also just has sacrificed shots this year, and he's been fine. So I don't know. Yeah, I maybe rhythm, like maybe that is a big key for Kobe. It's just shocking, you know. Like I didn't expect this bad of a drop off terms of efficiency. I mean, we're looking at now, like, I mean, he came into this game shooting 41% from the field and 36% from three. Last year, he shot 44% from the field and 37.5% from three. Now, after tonight's game, I'm sure it's worse. Like, it didn't get any better tonight. He's now down to 17.5 points per game on the season. He is now shooting 41% from the field and I guess still 36% from three. Like, that's just... Like, this isn't bad. Like, this number isn't that bad. It's just, like, this number is just more shocking to me. Like, we're talking about a 3% decrease in terms of your overall field goal percentage, which, sure, you lost a percentage and a half from three-point range, but you're just also less efficient overall. So it doesn't matter exactly where it is. Some people just get impacted more by warm-ups. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I guess the only other thing I can really think of with Kobe is that like he has been the guy that comes out early and then comes back in, right? And then comes back out again and then comes back in. So maybe honestly it might just be the rotation for him. Where he just isn't adjusted to the rotation, where he's coming in and out, in and out, in and out, right? All right, I just updated. So he's down to 41.4 and 35.8 now. Like maybe that's actually like hurting him because that wasn't the rotation last year, right? Because DeRozan last year was the guy leading the second unit, so DeRozan would be the one to come out and then back in and then come out and come back in, right? Kobe would play like 9 minutes, get a 6-minute rest, and then play another 9 minutes. So maybe that's the issue for Kobe. It's just that the rotations for him with Billy Donovan is that with him like being the second unit leader. And him coming like he's playing like 5-minute stretches each half, and it's like he gets subbed in and out, right? Maybe that's what's hurting him. Like that's the only other thing I can really actively think about where it's like, okay, this was different from last year with Kobe, where the rotations are just different, where he isn't on the same rotation schedule as last year, and so he isn't playing as long, right? And so it just gets him out of the rhythm. So I that's like the only thing I could really think of. Like that's the only other thing. So I don't know. It's rough. I just hope he figures it out at some point because this is not looking good. Yeah, I'm just hoping he just finds some way to get out of this. Maybe honestly, just the new year coming in will just fix him. You know, no longer 2024. He'll hit 2025, and it's like, oh my god, brand new Kobe. Why do the Bulls suck? I think they're supposed to suck this year, and they're also owned by Jerry Reinsdorf, so that's why they suck. Might be it. Honestly, with how bad he is at the moment, they should attempt to shift that. It can impact you. I mean, I wouldn't mind, honestly, seeing Zach be the guy come out early. Now, I know Zach is also kind of like, he might also kind of be on that, like, that sort of guy where he's like, I want to play the 9 minutes and then sit for 6 and then play the 9 minutes. So, I don't know if maybe that's also kind of impacting things, but I don't know. I've always kind of said that I would like to see Zach kind of play in the second unit, just kind of see how that unit runs, and let that roll, play a little bit faster, shoot more threes. It'll also let Zach kind of get some more shots because this was another one of those games where I'd really be where I'm just like kind of begging for Zach just to kind of like be more aggressive. He clearly like didn't have his like good stuff tonight, but it's like I just kind of asked for him just to have the ball more. And I will say this also, the Bucks were heavily hounding Zach. We saw it multiple times where they just didn't let him get the inbound pass. They also multiple times where they doubled off the pick and roll for him. So I understand for Zach where he's trying to be the team player, and just be like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna give up the ball when I should, and give guys open looks, which he did a good job of that tonight, by the way. Like, it's not going to show up in the box score, but, it's just no one made shots tonight. But this is also one of those games where I'm just like, I would like to see just like Zach like isolating the post or something, and just try to go one-on-one scoring and see if he can just maybe get himself going, because the team very clearly needed someone just to kind of get a spark, and it just obviously didn't happen tonight besides maybe Jalen Smith in the second quarter. So others I'm cool with giving THT Kobe's minutes even at this rate. Better have boost, but yeah, I'll even take THT how he's going over Kobe for now. Io starting, of course. Well, I mean, even THT didn't have that good of a game tonight, so like, I understand what you're saying. Like, THT's been better, as in terms of just like overall consistency, I guess you could say, but that not tonight though. So, yeah, if I was Billy, I would actually try it just to be like, okay, one game we'll take Zach out early, and we'll have Kobe play his like rotations that he played last year, right? Where Kobe played like 9 minutes, sat for 6, then played 9 minutes. Yeah, maybe that will get Kobe back on track, honestly. It'll be weird though, because Vooch and Zach have been kind of playing together all season long, and that's been kind of the rotation. So I don't know if that will mess things up, but I don't know. I'd be willing to try it just to see if I can get Kobe back on track, and maybe that helps him. It will also throw everyone else off in terms of rotations, but I'd be willing to try it. And have Zach try to lead the second unit, especially with like Lonzo and Giddey out at the moment. I don't know if Giddey is to be back on Thursday. I seriously doubt it, but yeah, just try something. Try something at this point. Try to see if you can get Kobe's confidence back. Which I guess maybe not confidence, just his shooting stroke back. Yeah, I'm a little bit overall just confused with it. Again, can't be blamed for this slump for Kobe, for someone who may blame him. Yeah, the people who blame Giddey for anybody's slump, I don't understand that either. If Giddey's slumping himself, then sure, blame Giddey for Giddey's slump. But just as much as I'm doing with Kobe right now, I am blaming Kobe for Kobe's slump. This, in my opinion, just looks a lot like just on him. But once again, I don't think it's the Bulls' offense is the problem. I think Kobe's getting plenty of open looks. I think he is just not as confident inside right now, which is weird. Which could be injury related. But he's also he's just not as efficient. He's missing some shots he needs to make. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. It's just been odd. Take Giddey and Zach off to give Kobe a new run longer. Yeah, that'd be the idea. And then if Io's playing, just leave Io out there. Yeah, was simply the first sub around 4-minute mark. Well, even before Giddey went out, like Billy changed it to Kobe. Kobe was the first sub out after like 5 minutes. Giddey would then also come out pretty early, but it was Kobe first, and then it was Giddey. Giddey was playing a little bit longer, so that was also with Pat out, so maybe that affected rotations. But Kobe was the first sub, like even before Giddey got injured. Now you are right. When Pat was playing, then Giddey was the first sub out, but Kobe in more recent times was the first sub, even with Giddey playing, but that was with Pat out. So I don't know. Billy is interesting with his rotations. That's all I'll say. Yeah, I'm just as confused as everybody when it comes to Kobe's slump. I think part of it is that, yeah, he's probably not as good as maybe he was last year, but I don't think we should be seeing a month where you're shooting like what 20-something% from three. Let's say 25% from three this month. Yeah, it's 28% from three this month. Like, this is not something we should be seeing. I know he missed a couple games this month, but like we're talking now 7 games, and you're shooting 28% from 3-point range, and I'm sure it didn't help tonight. Which, I mean, actually, it might have helped tonight. Yeah, he went up a little bit tonight, but overall field goal percentage went down. Or no, actually, that also went up. See, this shows you how bad of a month he's having. Where tonight his month averages would go up tonight, even though he shot 36 and 33% from the field. That's how bad of a month he's having. Yeah, I don't know. It's been wild. overall. Sorry, hold on. I need to look at my phone for just a second. Not striking out, but he's awful overall plus minus at this point for the season. He is also, yeah, he I think he has the worst plus minus for the Bulls. Yeah, which is, I guess, part of it's not that shocking because there was the early on in the season where he was not playing with Zach and Vooch that often, right? So it was the second unit, which the second unit has just been bad. And he was in that unit. But I mean, what again though? I do always just like, this was not obviously a good night shooting for Io. But in terms of him in the starting lineup, he's been pretty overall good. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, like, his plus minus is better with the stars. It's not amazing. I'm like, minus 3.9 is not amazing, but he's just been better. But you see, with on the bench though, as a reserve, he actually had like a horrible plus minus as a reserve. Yeah, and I think I looked at it today. It was like a minus like 108 coming into tonight. It's just like overall like it like from just pure plus minus like stat wise, like not per game, just like total. He was like minus 108 or something. Like I think Zach was like plus 1, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know what the stats are now, but I mean obviously Zach wouldn't be plus 1 anymore after tonight. But yeah, it was kind of wild to look at. Let's see here. Sorry, no, it'd be players, and then we gotta go to totals. All right, I know it was even worse than I thought. So yeah, Io is minus 137. Let's see. So Vooch is minus 84. So now Zach is now minus 17. He was plus 1 coming into tonight. Patrick is in somehow, some way, in some form is minus 102. And Kobe's minus 83. Dalen Terry is somehow minus 96. Once again, I just want to point out, like, this is not the perfect stat to look at because Javon Carter is plus 21, right? That's not right. Like, let's just be real. Javon Carter has not been the best, like, one of the best plus, like, in terms of overall players on this Bulls team. That's just not the case. But I mean, it is kind of like a little bit scary though when you start seeing like these numbers. Like you're like, wow. So pretty much no matter what, Io's just been like negative. With now it could be his fault, which part of it is probably his fault, but like it could also not be his fault. It's just it's an interesting stat to look at. It's not perfect though. I will say for this, so this is what I kind of more look at. It's again, it's also not perfect, but yeah, like I always kind of look at this sort of stuff. But I mean, right now the Bulls have been plus 6 better with when Io's not on the court. So yeah. He was his first suck as administration early on. Yeah, that makes sense. Man's players just had that run as a unit one game that held 2 limited samples for those. No, I understand that again. Yeah, I understand that. But like, let's just be honest to ourselves though. Like, has Vucevic been a minus 84 player like for this year? No. Like, Vuce has been a pretty solid player this year. He has not been a minus 84 player this year. It's just kind of shocking to see that where it's just like he's minus 84. He's having a pretty damn good season, but he's minus 84. So like I don't think that's like fully correct. Like Vooch has not been a minus 84. Like I want to make that clear. Zach is the best of stars as expected. I mean, well, I think even there was a moment though, like 2 weeks ago, where Zach was actually like worse than Vooch. But Zach had that incredible game against Boston, and that like really helped him. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, Zach has the best. He's still a negative, but yet again, though, like, I don't think he's been a negative overall player this year. I think he's been very good this year. The team has just been very clearly better when he's been playing. Hence, you can just look at the record when Zach is playing, when he's not playing. So yeah, it is concerning for like Io. Like minus 137 is like concerning for him because he's played in every single game or most. I think yeah, he's played in every single game, right? I think he has. And like with Kobe, also it's a little bit concerning, but and somehow this is the one that doesn't. This also doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how Pat is minus 102, and he's only played in 20 games and has not had as many minutes as the others. Like he's had 536 minutes compared to Io's 924. That doesn't make any sense in my head. He's like I also don't think that Pat is minus 102. But that's just how the season goes, I guess. Pat started so bad. He did start badly, but I mean that's just how it goes though. Like it's just so weird. all the off the foot dribbles. Yeah, I remember. But like, are you gonna tell me though that Pat started badly, that Vucevic is only like a plus 18 to Pat? Like that doesn't make sense either. Like Vooch should not be a plus 18 to Pat. He should be like probably much higher, but plus minus for everybody. Like it's always interesting when I do this because I think like a good example is this. So let's see. I guess this doesn't work out too well, but I was gonna look at like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, but I guess that doesn't really work. I mean, once again, also like if you're a damn good team that's winning every game, then you're gonna you most likely have just a positive plus minus. I think the Bucks are a better example. So like, yeah, like for example, with the Bucks, they're only plus 10 with Giannis on the court, and then they're minus 17 with Lillard. Yet somehow, some way, when guys like Marshawn Beauchamp or Ryan Hollins are like plus 39, and like Chris Middleton's plus 58, like Brook Lopez is plus 52. Yeah, somehow without Bobby Portis, they're minus 33. Like it's not perfect, Very clearly, the Bucks are better when Lillard and Giannis are both on the court. They're just a better team. Lillard though has been running the second unit, so it's not exactly that shocking to see a minus 17 for Lillard, right? Like I just mean that in the negatives, right? Like it's not shocking to see Lillard in the negatives because he has been running the second unit. So like if you are part of the second unit, it's not that shocking to see you be in the negative, in my opinion. But like Andre Jackson has been a plus 58. That's like, yeah, he's been 48 points better than Giannis has this year. Like, sure. Plus minus again, it's not perfect. It's not perfect at the end of the day. Yeah, somehow Torian Prince is minus 68. I also don't think that's correct. Yeah. Derek White looking at me. Oh yeah, Derek White, I mean, yeah. Lillard's bad. I don't think Lillard's been bad this year though. Like I think Lillard this year is just, he's had a typical Lillard season. Like, I mean, look, we're talking about 25 points per game. That's preseason. 25 points per game and 37% shooting with 9 threes. Like that's Lillard-esque. I would argue last year was worse for him. Giannis isn't there for he can't carry the bench. Oh, I agree. I don't think Lillard can carry the bench, but I don't think a lot of teams can carry that Bucks bench. Like I'm being dead serious. Like there's no way that there are a lot of teams that cannot carry this Bucks bench. Let's just be honest. Chris Marquis to the team at the moment, probably. I disagree. Like, I'm being dead serious. They won that the in-season tournament championship without Chris Middleton. Like, this Bucks team has been a lot better recently, and it's because Lillard has been better, and the team overall has just been better. Does Middleton help? For sure, but I don't think he's back to being Chris Middleton yet. Middleton, if healthy, can be the difference maker besides health for Bucks. I agree Middleton can be the difference maker, but I don't think he's been the reason why the Bucks have suddenly started winning again. Like, I think even before Middleton was even right, the Bucks started winning because they actually started playing defense, and they actually started doing some better things on offense. Lillard started to play a lot better on offense. Now, what he's done though has been in terms of like making sure the second unit like kind of stays intact, right? What Lillard has done is kind of keep it even, right? He has not done the team is not better with him out there with the second unit. Like they don't gain points, they don't suddenly gain a lead. But what Lillard has done is that he's kind of kept it steady, where you're not suddenly you're not falling off a cliff when Giannis is off the court. So when Giannis gets back, then they'll be fine. PL plus minus lower because he played early on in the season with stars who struggled often against. Then the Bulls offense play when the Bulls offense play when he got hurt. He's probably one of the only guys out there that was really good at guarding to start the season because I was struggling on defense some too. No, I understand that Patrick had a horrible start to the season, and then he was played in many different lineups to start the year, and he was just bad. I think a lot of the plus minus negative for him is on himself. But I also think that recently he has not been a minus 106 to the point where you're like, wow, yeah, Pat's been just bad. Like, for example, in this game, he was +1. Like, I think that's kind of more typical what I'm expecting. But, like, with Pat, I don't think he's been a minus 106 for the entire year. He had a horrible start to the year, but I don't think he's like a minus 106. But again, no, it's just a plus minus is out of your control sometimes. Like, this is not something that's like fully in his control. Then that's not, like, again, it's not all his fault. Rami's rating of the evening, and it's not him. 35% shooting when guarded by Daniels is as good as Curry on the metric as expected. Oh, interesting. The Timberwolves, though, just have been bad. I'm being dead serious. The Timberwolves have just been bad. Their offense looks garbage. Chris Finch finally is getting the fraud look at him again because I've been saying it, bro. I don't like Chris Finch. I think Chris Finch is a bad coach. He had a good year last year, so props to him for having that nice year, but I just do not trust Chris Finch. Yeah, that Towns trade is looking worse and worse for them by the second. I didn't like the trade for either team. But yeah, it's looking worse and worse for them right now, which is funny. I'm actually curious what the Timberwolves look like with Ant. He's been +59. What's with Randall? Well, see, Randall's had a pretty crappy year, and yet he's +41. shows what playing with the starters does for you. When you play with the starters, you look pretty solid. But Randall's not been good this year. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Like, Randall has not had a good year. Yeah. But let's see. I mean, these are like horrible percentages, but like he just says he hasn't exactly had like the best year. I mean, we're talking about a significant scoring decrease. He's what Ant to be the dude, but he's just a good guard, not a new face level guard. Maybe not even a tough guard at the moment. Oh, that's interesting, Charles. I think Anthony Edwards to me is a top 5 guard. The problem right now though is that the Timberwolves are just bad. Like they don't have the depth right now. Randall's been garbage. I think I always forget. Is it Jaden McDaniels for them? I always forget who's on their team. Yeah, it's Jaden McDaniels has not been the same as last year. And they're missing Cat. Like they're genuinely missing Cat. Randall can't be as good of a sidekick to Edwards. And I think Edwards actually has done a good job this year of like adjusting. Because the team needed more 3-point shots taken with Cat gone, right? And so Edwards has taken more. He's shooting over 40% from 3-point range this year. So I personally think Edwards is up there in terms of top 5 guards. I just think the team sucks. The team is just bad. I mean, you lost another 20, like an efficient 23-point per game scorer without Cat. Like, it makes sense. Now, that's because the Timberwolves are trying to make sure they don't spend so much in the luxury tax, but that's their issue. Fox, Shea, and Steph all feeling a level over him as key examples. I think Shea is obviously an MVP candidate. I think Fox, I don't know necessarily about him. Steph, I mean, we'll give Steph the benefit of the doubt. Steph hasn't had that good of a year overall, but I mean, in terms of his standards, obviously, he's had a very good year compared to others, but it's just not Steph-like. The Luka all stuff I've got over. I mean, yeah, I think Luka and Shea and Steph are your three that you would say is over Anthony Edwards. Yeah. But after that, though, I mean, like, it's kind of up for debate. Like, do you put Jalen Brunson there? I don't, just for the record, I don't count the Celtics players as guards. I count Brown and Tatum as forwards because they're both playing forward right now. So, like, I'm not going to put Jalen Brown as a guard. So I make that very clear. So yeah, I overall, I personally, I would have Ant in like number 5 probably for me. Am I missing anybody? I don't think I'm missing anybody. At like bona fide, like top level. Is like if I had to choose between Anthony Edwards and Donovan Mitchell, I'm choosing Anthony Edwards. Like that's serious, and I'm a huge fan of Donovan Mitchell. I'm just choosing Anthony Edwards. I don't pick Trae Young. And then again, Jalen Brunson and Anthony Edwards. I'm picking Anthony Edwards. So yeah, I mean Shea obviously. I guess Ja would be a guy. It's Denver. I mean we talked about Murray not looking the same. So Booker I guess would be the guy, right? I guess you could choose Booker. I wouldn't be upset with you if you choose Booker over Anthony Edwards. I would personally choose Anthony Edwards though. And so yeah, I guess it's in Fox, but I would personally choose Anthony Edwards over Fox right now. Fox is having a great year. I'm not saying he isn't having a good year, but I would personally choose Anthony Edwards over here in Fox. Personally, I think Edwards could be your franchise. That's just my personal opinion. Once I go lower than that, he failed the Dyson test twice this year. I mean, that makes a lot of sense though for Jalen. Like, I mean, size difference. Yeah, like a 5 or 6 Booker is an option. I can see Booker. I just think Anthony Edwards would just be better than Booker, like honestly. But I can see why you would choose Booker. Ball's probably weaker. I would not choose LaMelo. Yeah, I would not personally choose LaMelo over Anthony Edwards, or even honestly a lot of the other guys. So yeah, I guess it's for you. If you want to choose Fox, sure, I'm not going to stop you. That's your opinion, and you have the right to your opinion. I just personally would not choose De'Aaron Fox over Anthony Edwards. Now, granted, again, Fox is having one hell of a season. I think last year was also really impressive for him in terms of just upping his 3-point attempts and being, consistent with it. But I would personally choose Anthony Edwards over De'Aaron Fox at the end of the day. So. I'm interested to see how this game goes. Is Steph playing in this one? I'm gonna assume he is. He is. Okay. Oh, he's 0 for 4. Wow. I'm interested to see how this game goes because I would like to see the Pacers win this one just so that they can get up higher against the Bulls in the standings. Because as you can see, that they're 11.5, and this will make sure that they're 11 higher than the Bulls. So they're on a 4-game winning streak. So we'll see. Warriors have slipped recently, but they're still over 500, which is how this works in the NBA. 8th seed in the Eastern Conference is under 500. The 8th seed in the Western Conference is 3 games over 500. So that's how it works. Okay, for franchise, I would still choose Anthony Edwards personally. Now, Kate Cunningham is looking really good this year. But I would choose Anthony Edwards personally. I guess the other guy you would make the argument for is Kyrie, right? So if you want to choose Kyrie, sure. I just think Kyrie is like a bona fide number 2. So if we're gonna be talking about like as in terms of like number 1 options, then I think Kyrie isn't in this conversation. But I mean, Kyrie's also very elite. All right, okay, so Kyrie's officially, yeah. I think Kyrie's officially just the Robin now, which is I think is I mean, if Kyrie's your Robin, then you're doing something right. Hence the Dallas Mavericks look a lot better recently. Yeah, remember when the Dallas Mavericks were like down here and like everyone was like freaking out, like, oh god, the Mavericks, like, what are they gonna do? Like, oh god, is it over for them? No, they're fine. Yeah, the Warriors, though, I will say I'm not exactly feeling thrilled about them. The Phoenix Suns, I'm not feeling great about the Phoenix Suns at the moment. I'm not feeling great about the Timberwolves, and the Kings just make me want to puke. They're losing too many games that they need to win. Yeah, Denver got that one win against Portland, so they survived. So yeah, I mean, Oklahoma City, Memphis, Dallas has looked really solid. Lakers somehow now the 6th seed again. So yeah, it's crazy in the West though. I mean, yet again, we're looking at a 2-game difference between the 5 and 11 seed, 2.5 game difference between the 4 and 11 seed. So West is nuts, but every game matters. Every little game matters. So my Clippers fall for my predictions. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I also had the Clippers down there, like not making the playoffs, but I'm not shocked that they actually like look okay. They're the Clippers. Like the Clippers are the team that like you would think that they're gonna fall off a cliff. Like no Kawhi, you know, they no Paul George anymore, and yet some way somehow they'll find a way to actually like be okay. Yet you would like they should still probably be worse, but yet they're okay. Rockets are a team I'm so curious what they do with Green. Green just isn't that good. They are so deep. So I've had this discussion with some people on Twitter. I think Jalen Green overall, like I am very intrigued by his potential. I am aware though that his field goal percentage is very, very concerning. Because let's just be honest, like if let's say Jalen Green was having a Levine type season, right, in terms of efficiency, right? So if you're not aware about Jalen Green's efficiency numbers, this is Jalen Green's efficiency numbers this year, okay? He is shooting 40% from the field and 31% from 3-point range, okay? If you look at the field goal attempts per game from both the 3-point line and just in general, okay, he is basically averaging about the same of what Zach does. Like, it's very similar. It's not exactly the same, but it's very similar. So if you want to look at Levine's stats, okay, like, this is Zach's stats this year, okay? He's taking less overall shots from the field, but about the same amount of threes. But you see the difference, right? We're talking about 50% from the field and 44% from 3, okay? Now, Green is averaging 19.6 points per game. Zach's averaging 22. Zach's true shooting percentage, if we want to look at it, so his true shooting percentage is 64%. Jalen Green's true shooting percentage is at 53%. So you just see the big difference in terms of efficiency, right? I'd be really curious like what the team would look like right now for the Rockets, because like I think Jalen Green has some serious potential. Like I look at him like same boat as Zach, high flyer. The problem is though is that he is shorter than Zach and he is smaller than Zach. Now I don't know about wingspan, so that is also a question. Best way to look at this is always just the draft. So we're looking at 2021. Sorry, 2021 NBA Combine measurements. They may have not done it, and I don't blame them. Because if you're going to be a top 3 pick, you really shouldn't be doing anything. I mean, yeah, okay, here's his draft net staff. So, wingspan is similar to Zach. It's a little bit shorter. Zach is about a 6'8" wingspan, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 6'8". I think Zach's actually was like 6'8" and a half. I hate that we can't fully see. I hate that they do this sort of stuff. So I know. So it says 6'6" here, but Zach grew, so I'm not gonna count this. Sorry, I just want to actually look and see what they actually put for him. Six six. No, so like Zach has a bigger wingspan now. Like it's like 6'8". So it's relatively the same for Jalen Green. It's just that I don't know. Like he is just like a tad bit shorter than Zach. And you can just tell he's just less efficient. He just doesn't have the 3-point shot that Zach does, and so without that, like, how efficient can you be? Yeah, I don't know what the Rockets do, because now Green signed this extension or like new contract, right? So this is his new contract, so it's not like that much money, and for this year he is not getting paid a lot because it's the last year of his rookie deal. So if you're the Rockets, like, do you go ahead and cash in? Like, do you look to trade him? Some team will be willing to take him. Excuse me, he's only 22, soon to be 23. And like try to cash in, try to get your number one. Miami, try to get Jimmy Butler, right? Now, here's the other thing that I don't think people are talking about. Now, this guy, his estimated plus minus looks okay, but I've been telling people, like, hey, I don't think Fred VanVleet has looked that great. The Rockets, though, just defensively have just been like one of the best teams in the league, and they've been like overall collective unit, like, doing pretty well. Şengün also hasn't had like a Şengün season like last year, so their offense has had their struggles, but their defense has been so solid that they're winning games. But when you look at Fred VanVleet's stats, man, in terms of efficiency, I mean, this dude's shooting 37% from the field and 29% from three. Now, as a very small guard, and Fred VanVleet is, okay, he is 6 foot. I don't expect a high overall field goal percentage, okay? He's always had a pretty low field goal percentage in his career, okay? Like, total field goal percentage. But in terms of 3-point percentage, I did not expect Fred VanVleet to be shooting 29% from three. That is not supposed to happen, okay? I mean, we're looking at you just see it here, like, very good 3-point percentages in his career. Like, the lowest is 34%, okay? But VanVleet has never shot below 30% in his career from 3-point range. He has always been a very solid 3-point shooter, and he is shooting 29% from the field. So I think that the Rockets, like, their backcourt, it kind of looks weird. Because it's not necessarily like they're like playing like awful, but their overall efficiency for their offense has been hurting their offense. And you can just kind of see in terms of like their offensive ratings and stuff, like they just haven't exactly looked the best. So I'm really interested to see what they do. Like, if they go and make the trade for Jimmy Butler, I wouldn't be upset at them. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It's just like, how much are you willing to give up and who goes with, right? So if you're wondering about the Houston Rockets, I mean, they're not bad. Like, they're about where the Bulls are. But in terms of their overall 3-point stuff, like, you're gonna actually see, like, they're struggling this year. Let's see. So their 3-point attempts, I mean, they're shooting a whopping 32% from 3-point range on 36 attempts from the field. Like, that's very low. Yeah, I mean, they're basically next to the Magic in terms of 3-point percentage this year. But still, though, their defense has been so damn good. Their defensive rating is second right now, only behind the Thunder, and they're above the Magic. And the Magic's defense has been fantastic. So, yeah, it's just an odd look for the Rockets right now, but they're doing a good job. Like, they're actually winning games in a very, like, hard way, and they're doing good. You think Houston should try to trade for Jimmy Butler? If they're gonna do the Jimmy Butler trade, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. My only concern is just the 3-point shooting. VanVleet needs to figure out his shooting stroke again. Now, I think Dillon Brooks is having a better season than usual, if I'm not mistaken, from three. Like, it's like, yeah, like, Dillon Brooks, in terms of his 3-point percentage, is, like, he's shooting 38%. So that's good for Brooks. Like, he's not, you know, he's a career 35, let's say, percent shooter from three. So that's good. I just, you know, I don't know about the rest of the 3-point shooting, though. Like, it's been that bad so far to start the year. So I'm hoping that they can, if they do trade for Jimmy, like, they have to make sure they surround him with shooters. So VanVleet needs to find a shot, and then they need to go and get more shooters. As well, they really pay him, given the options they have for where they put salary limits next season. Can they be a bit better this season from trading him for, like, Zach even? Oh, I think they would be better, especially offensively with Zach. Now, defensively, though, how much would you drop? That would be the big question. Like, offensively, you would get a lot better with Zach. just because their 3-point percentage is just that bad. But defensively, I would just worry about the drop. Now, I don't think Jalen Green defensively has been like amazing. So yeah, I mean, if they're able to cover up for Zach's defensive miscues, then yeah, I think they'd be honestly really good. So I don't know. It would be interesting just to look at it. Oh, Rockets will be doing OKC mimic on defensive orientation grading is a weak point if they close and if they lean into. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Maybe not OKC, but big defensive foundation is cool. I think it's always a good way to start. I just imagine keeping some good parity if we take injury out. Honestly, bro, I can't believe how good the Magic are still doing without some of their guys. Like, the fact that they aren't, like, getting buried in the standings just because the East is, like, just bad. I mean, that props to them, bro. Teammate Cam Johnson might be a better option for Rockets. Easier to match Green for him too. It would be easier, but like, is that worth it for the Rockets? Like, would you be willing to trade Jalen Green for Cam Johnson? Like, that just doesn't sit well with me. Like, overall, like I'd honestly, if I'm the Rockets, if I'm Rockets fans, bro, if I'm getting Cam Johnson as the main player back in his Jalen Green trade, like, I'm hoping that I better be getting some picks alongside that, or I better be getting like a bunch of other players too. Like, that just. That doesn't sit well with me. You think Miami's going to go and try to keep their pick? No, I think Miami will always try to win. That's always been their memo. Miami, even like when they should tank, they never tank. So I think they'll always try to. I mean, Tyler Hero's having a fantastic year. Like, you're not going to tank with Tyler Hero having this good of a year. I did not catch that. I don't know how to say it. AJ Dibanza? I don't know how to say that. Planter both legs in the game like Gordon. Oh, wow. Whew. Yeah, I honestly, Dibanza? Okay, got it. Thank you. If I'm a Rockets fan and if I trade Jalen Green for Cam Johnson, like, I'm losing my mind. Like, is it like, I'm not saying like, okay, Jalen Green himself is like worth the superstar in the trade. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, if I package Jalen Green to get Cam Johnson, like, I'm losing my mind. I would much rather package Jalen Green and picks and whatever. Like, if I had to package Reed Shepard, sure, and get like a Jimmy Butler to try to get me like a #1 option, then trade for Cam Johnson. Oh man, I maybe underestimated Hero. I had assumed he was closer to Jordan Poole than what he is at the moment. Oh, that's interesting. I also had underestimated Hero. I did not think he'd ever become like this efficient of a scorer while averaging like 20 plus. I think I could see he could get to 20 plus, but I didn't see him getting to like this efficient. So I also underestimated him, but I'm happy that he made the switch to shoot more like Steph, like into the shot selection. I think that's good for him. He's done a good job with it. Reed Shepard would be such a good return for a team. I don't know, bro. I have questions about Reed Shepard, just size and everything, but yeah, I mean, if you're Miami, like, if you do you do that? Like, do you trade Jimmy Butler for Jalen Green, Reed Shepard, and I don't know, another first? Like, probably. I mean, I think that's probably a pretty solid option. Aging Jimmy Butler for that. There's also a scrum between Porzingis, Suggs tonight, and Goga. Oh my god! So there were two scrums tonight. We had the Embiid and Wembanyama and Drummond, where we saw Drummond get ejected, then not ejected, and then technical foul called on Wembanyama, then it got rescinded. Like, I don't know what the hell was happening in that whole situation, but basically the refs suck, and the reason why if there's any part of the product that is the problem in terms of ratings, it's the officials. Like, I cannot stand the officials right now. The officials are garbage. And that whole thing that happened today with Wembanyama, Embiid, and Drummond, like, that is insane. That should not be happening. Every official that was doing that game needs to be fined at bare minimum. They should all, in my opinion, they should be suspended, but they're never going to do that. Let's say Bulls gonna say Shepard's gonna rebound. I don't know, bro. Guys that don't have size at the point guard spot that like I get scared. Yeah, I know this is just rookie year, so like this isn't anything, but it's like I get scared about guys like him. Force setting, always said force set of eyes, less running and backpedaling to catch calls. Well, there's the lack of like, yeah, they miss calls, so sure, but I just think that they just don't know how to officiate games anymore. Like they don't know how to talk to players. They're calling fouls when they shouldn't, just because like they think that that's the right, or excuse me, they're calling technical fouls when it's unnecessary, just because they think that's like the best way to shut people up. That I don't understand. Like the whole technical foul thing is just, it's so frustrating to me. We saw Embiid basically talk himself out of the game because of the whole text, and I'm just like, bro, like we don't need this anymore. Like is Embiid out of line? Sure, but we didn't come to watch the ref show. We came to actually watch the players. So let's please stop being stupid about double texts and calling technical fouls and rescinding technical fouls. Like, just please. Bringing Shepard for Zach would be an overpay for Zach. I think that would be an overpay for Zach for sure. Less mistakes, maybe talk over plays and change calls more often. Maybe. I've said this about the officials, okay? The officials are going to continue to suck until there is actually consequences for them. Like, the fact that they get to do their job and there aren't any consequences for them, like, they can mess up 20 times in a game. And, like, on very egregious moments, like, they can mess up 20 times on egregious calls and they'll still have their job the next day. Like, there has to be some sort of, like, someone hold them, like, responsible for something. Like, you can't just let these guys just do whatever they want. I've always said that if the officials ever call a technical foul on somebody and then the league looks at it and then they rescind it the next day, that official should be then paying $1,000 because they decided that, hey, I'm going to give you a technical foul, which is a 1K fine for you, okay? I have the power to do so, so I give you that 1K fine. But if the league then rescinds a technical foul, then that official who gave that technical foul in the first place should then pay the 1K fine because it's insane. Like, you called a technical foul that the league official said, no, that's not correct. You did a bad job. You did your job incorrectly, and nothing happens. Like, nothing happens right now. Like, that's insane to me. I can't believe that's the case. Like, I think that no matter what officials, like, I understand, like, if it's a bang play and it's just you miss it, you miss it. Like, I understand that. But when officials miss blatantly obvious calls, like, we're talking like the ball went out of bounds on this certain player and the officials are staring at it and they get the call wrong. Like, that right there should be a consequence. I don't care what it is, just some sort of punishment needs to happen. Because you're not doing your job. Like, you are supposed to do your job. You're in the NBA because you're supposed to be the best officials in the world. Yet, if you cannot do your job properly, then you should not be here. You should have some sort of punishment. I've been adamant about this. There was an official in the EuroLeague that they got a call wrong in like the last 2 minutes of the game where a guy stepped out of bounds, and it involved Mirotic, by the way, so you can go look it up. But because they missed the call, the other team won the game when they shouldn't have, and that official got fired. Like, gone immediately. Just boom, they're gone. Goodbye. Because they messed up. Like, if you're not physically capable of doing your job or mentally capable of doing it, then you just gotta get out of here. I personally have said though that if an official misses blatantly obvious calls, like 3 blatantly obvious calls in a game, that official should be suspended for a week at bare minimum, because this is how you keep them held accountable. This is how you make sure that all 3-second violations are called. They make sure they get all out of bounds plays called, because they have to be locked in for all 48 minutes or else they'll lose their job or they'll get suspended for a week. But the fact that we get to just see officials just mess up a blatantly obvious call, mess up the game, and then get to call technical fouls on people and make sure that they get the 1K fine out and nothing happens then to the officials is stupid. I understand that the officials have a union, just like how the umpires in the MLB have a union. I understand that they have a union, and look, I'm not anti-union, okay? I want to make this clear. I'm not anti-union. I very much support unions, okay? But when it comes to how the officials in the NBA have to work out with their crap or whatever, there are too many officials right now in this game that should not be officials. And they have had too many moments where they clearly mess up badly and nothing happens to them. So it's either these guys gotta get better, and the only way, in my opinion, to get better is if someone holds them responsible, right? Or get better officials. Like the training or the way that you introduce officials to the league has to just be better. Yeah, I understand that college officials are just worse. Like I get that, but there are just too many moments right now where officials just don't have a grasp of the game, and they're just calling techs just because they get to call techs. And they miss calls because they aren't fully paying attention to things. Hey, news blast, your job is to pay 100% attention to the game. Like, your job is to pay attention to the game. I'm sorry, but that's your job. If you can't do that, if you zone out for a play, or if you miss a blatantly obvious call because you're not fully paying attention, guess what? You get to have a punishment. You don't deserve to be an official then. Because I personally only want officials that are fully locked in. I understand there will be moments where calls are missed. Like if there's a missed call because the official was screened because they couldn't fully see the play, or if it's like a bang bang, like it happened like that, like I get it. Like those moments will happen. I'm still giving leeway in this sort of situation. But I'm talking about when there's an obvious call missed, and it's like it's right there, and you can't get it wrong. Like everybody in the arena can see it happen, and yet the officials get it wrong, even though they're standing right there. It's like right in front of them, and they still get it wrong. That's insane. Like that sort of stuff is insane to me. That cannot happen. Like there was a, I don't remember which season it was, but there was a moment where I think it was like Katie was still on the Nets, but there was a moment where I think the Nets threw the ball to the corner, and it was the opposing team's bench was in the corner, and the opposing team's bench, like a guy like stuck his hand out or something and like kind of like hit the player trying to receive the ball, and the officials like the guy was right there, like he could very clearly that it was right there, he could see it, and he looked at it happen, and nothing happened from it. He just was like, no, that's clean. And it was just like, are you kidding me? Like that sort of stuff right there is what I'm talking about. It's like, that cannot happen. That's inexcusable. That official needs to be suspended. Do your job better, please. Because once again, your job is to go and officiate the game correctly. That's your job. Pay 100% attention. That's your job. But yet, this is one of those jobs where you can be completely wrong, and you can completely mess up and not give 110%, and you get to keep your job, because that's how it works in this world for some reason. I don't understand it. There has been an NFL ref that has been fired because he missed a false start before. Why can't we do that to our officials? If you mess up where you blatantly miss a call, then hey, you get suspended. If this continues to happen, you get fired. That's how it works. That's how the world works. This is how it's supposed to work. No one came to see the ref show. No one came to see the officials officiate the game. No one did. But yet we see too many of these officials that are like, yeah, this is our show now. I'm like, no, it's not. I genuinely do not care about you. So what happened tonight, in my opinion, is insane. With what happened between Wembanyama and Embiid and Drummond, like the fact that Drummond was ejected and wasn't ejected, like make a decision. Like what the hell is that? You can't eject somebody then uneject somebody. That is insane. And then you call the technical foul initially on Wembanyama for flopping, and then you rescinded it, and then it's like, bro, this is the sort of stuff that cannot happen in an NBA game. This is why people hate the officials. This is insane. You cannot do this anymore. And so I don't know what it's going to take. Like I think personally my plan is best where you actually introduce a punishment system where if officials miss a blatantly obvious call, then they get punished, they get suspended. I don't care what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what's going to take. I do agree with you, Rob, that 4 officials might help. But that being said, though, they all have to be locked in. And I just don't think that I don't think enough officials lock in. I'm aware that you're running up and down, by the way. I'm not saying that this is an easy thing. I'm not saying that officiating is easy. I just want to make this clear. I think what officials do, like most of them, what they do is very hard and they do a damn good job. But there are some officials in this league right now that they just do not care enough and they don't lock in 110%. And if you're not going to do that, then I don't want you on the court. That's just straight up how it should be. Yeah, like that sort of like missing a Donovan Mitchell when Mitchell clearly moved before the ball hit the rim. Like that shouldn't happen. All 3 officials missed that. That's insane. You can't miss that. Yeah, like when it comes to like violations too, like that's the sort of stuff that like really irks me. The out of bounds stuff, like I understand out of bounds is hard because it's just like it happens so fast. But when there was a moment, like there was a moment, it was when KD saw in the Warriors, where an official was watching KD try to save the ball from going out of bounds, and KD had both of his feet planted out of bounds, and he tried to save it, and the official's looking right at KD, like he's like right there, he sees it happening in front of him. He's 2 inches away from the play, and the official just is like, yeah, that's fine. Like, KD saved it, and it's like, no, the entire arena knew that KD was stepped out of bounds, but yet, nothing happened. Like, that official just, yeah, we're good. Nothing happened to that official. Now, I have heard people say that, like, Mark Davis, I think, has said, like, there has been times where the officials do mess up, and, like, behind the scenes, like, apparently some of them do get suspended for, like, a game or something. I don't know about that personally, but just because that's behind the scenes, I don't think it's enough, because just as much as we criticize the NBA players because of their public figures, the officials are also public, and they should also be going to the media every single game if there's a big whole thing, which they do more of it now, but they should also be answered to the media more often, just in general. Every time that someone is suspended in the NBA, a player specifically I'm talking about, that is public info. Same thing with the officials. The officials are public info. That should also be given to us. If the official is suspended due to bad officiating, then that should also be given public. But that we don't do that for some reason. That just doesn't happen. Reminds me of any of the Warriors Rockets Cup game. Oh yeah, somehow we call that a foul. That sort of stuff I don't understand. Yeah, maybe. More officials, more aware of the rules. It's just the MES has then pay for more travel, but yeah. I think slide baseline is the biggest issue. Determining angles instead of having two angles. Yeah, you're probably right. I actually don't remember this from last year. Sorry. Yeah, sorry for my rant. I don't mean to just get on a rant every single time, but when it actually comes to like the ratings, like, you know, people talk about the product being worse this year, and like, you know, the product in the NBA being worse. I actually think if there is one thing, it's that the officials suck. I have not been happy with the officials for I think about 6-7 years now. Like, all right, I guess I'd say more closer to 4 years where I've been like having like a major gripe. It always seems like the officials like the beginning of the season is like it's fine. Like the first like 3 weeks of the season, it's like the officiating is fine. Like no one has an issue with it. But yet then suddenly like the mid-November hits, and all of a sudden the officials just decide, yeah, we're just gonna be bad, and we just see weird things after weird things, and you're just like, what? The amount of stuff that we see is insane. The technical fouls that are called is way too many. Once again, it's a technical foul being called is $1,000K fine for that player. If that is rescinded, which we've already had technical fouls rescinded in this year, then that official that gave out the technical foul, who clearly did their job incorrectly, should be paying that fine. That's how you make sure that like you don't all of a sudden just like you have these officials just handing out texts. because that's what the officials want to do, is that they just want to hand out techs. Like, yeah, okay, little scuffle here and there, technical fouls on each player. Like, I don't want that. I hate that. But then also just like any little bit of talking is just a tech if like the officials just can't stand it. Yeah, and there's just a lot of BS, in my opinion, right now. Once again, though, it's just like there's an unfortunate power dynamic right now because the officials right now have actual like power in their hands over the players. If they want to, they can eject the player anytime they want to. They get to give a tech to the player anytime they want to. So they get to, at most, they can eject the player and mess that up. They can actively like try to get a player suspended if they wanted to, and they can also at most give out a 2K fine to the player each game. That's all in their power. And if they do it incorrectly, nothing happens to the officials. Like if the officials do that part incorrectly, or they eject, if they eject a player incorrectly, if they give out text incorrectly, like nothing happens to them. They get to go officiate the next game. That's the part that I don't understand. It's like if you do things incorrectly like that, then you should not be officiating. You should be suspended. You should pay a fine. Like I don't care what it is, but we fine our NBA players consistently. We suspend our NBA players consistently when they do things incorrectly. The officials should be the exact same, held to the exact same standard. If you do things incorrectly, if you mess up, you should be suspended or some sort of consequence needs to be given out. It's insane that we have not had this. But again, officials union can't do anything. Like, bro, just because you have a union does not mean you should be free of consequence. Might slow the game more, but more chances might be the only fix. But the fact that we're saying that, though, is the problem. If the fact that you're saying that, oh, we need to have more challenges, get more things called correctly, that shows you that the officials are doing things incorrectly. They need to be better. They have to be better in terms of their job. Their job is to call things correctly. Do your job better. I understand that there's gonna be things missed, but in every single game there will always be things missed. I get that, but do your job better. That's how you'll make sure that we don't have to go to like more challenges. And clock issues, yeah. Players and coaches get fined. Yeah, like bro, Pajimski. I don't know if you guys saw that. Pajimski was yelling at the officials, "Hey, there's a spilled beer," in their last game, by the way. Like, hey, there's a spilled beer on the side of the court, and they're like, he's like basically yelling at the officials, like, hey, stop the game. There's a spilled beer, and the officials stopped the game to call a tech on Pajimski. Like, that's insane. Like, did you guys not see that? Like, I'm gonna pull this up for you. The officials legitimately were just like, yeah, no, sorry guys, tech on Pajimski. Like, what? I saw that. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That is genuinely insane. Here, watch this with me, guys. Here. Let's just watch this together because this genuinely happened like the other day. Look, so Pajimski's yelling at the officials, "Hey, there is spilled beer on the court. We don't want to get hurt. We do not doing. We have a first and foremost, the officials are stupid because they're the ones supposed to be the ones that recognize, hey, there's a spill on the court. We gotta stop the game. That's their job. Like, I hope people understand this. Like, when I say that officials need to do better at their job, they're just clearly not doing their job. This is their job, okay? Just like with all jobs, if you don't do your job well, you have a chance to get fired, okay? If you don't do your job well, you get punished. It's how this works. This is your job. And yet, here we go. We have this right here, where Pajimski is yelling at the officials, hey, there's spilled beer on the court. Tech on Pajimski. That's insane. That is insane to me. That we're just like, yeah, we don't like what you're doing. You're out of control. Tech. Hey, you're not doing your job, officials. We're trying to point it out that there's spilled beer so we all don't slip and die. oh, sorry, I guess I get a technical foul for that. Like, that's insane. Are you kidding me? How are we handing out texts for a player saying, hey, there's a spilled beer on the court right now? Like, that's a text. Like, it's just insane that the fact that this happened. The fact that he just immediately, that the official's just like, yep, tech, Pajimski. It's just insane to me. The tech, they brought back the tech. They're just like, oh, shoot, we messed up. Sorry. But, like, that's insane. Like, that's the part. It's like, how are we calling a tech on a player that is pointing out, hey, there's spilled beer on the court? Yeah, it's just genuinely insane. Like, I always remember also when there was a moment where Tom Thibodeau, when he was coaching the Timberwolves, he yelled at Cat for like he like basically called Cat a bitch, and like, you can like hear it like in the game audio. You're just like, he just called Cat like all sorts of crap because Cat was not doing a good job, and the officials thought that Thibodeau was yelling at them, and so you just randomly the game stops when you just see Tibbs is like screaming at Cat, and the game stops. And then the officials go tech on Tibbs, and you see Cat run over to the official. He's like, he's yelling at me! Like, he's yelling at me! And then Tibbs like, I was yelling at him! And then you see the officials like, oh crap, we messed up, but still tech on Tibbs. Like, that's just the part that like I always just laugh at, because I'm just like, how the hell do these officials just get away with it? They're like, yeah, sure, tech on this guy. Oh yeah, we messed up, by the way. Oh, well, still talking on this guy. Like, it's just so stupid. Like, we just allow this to happen. The NBA allows this sort of BS to happen. That we just get to call text on players yelling, hey, there's beer on the court. Don't you job lose pay for NBA players would be hilarious. Like, you lose 0.5 of your salary for each loss of your team in season. That would be hilarious, honestly. Wish the Feds go there and fall. Honestly, then that what would happen then is that the NBA would then fine Pajimski for letting officials just not, or just basically not telling the officials, hey, yeah, there's spilled beer on the court. That's what would happen, is that the Pajimski would get fined for if you let the ref spill or slip on the beer. Merry Christmas, Rare. Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. The officials have been one of the things that I cannot stand recently with the NBA. Like, I genuinely have issues with the officials. I love the NBA, but God almighty, have some of the stuff that we've seen recently with the officials have just been stupid. And then over just the years, I've just been like, holy crap, guys, this has just been bad. The officiating has just been so bad that we're just like, what the hell, guys? Like, please, just be better. All right. That being said, though, now that my rant is over, Bulls do not play on Christmas, so there are no games Christmas Eve. That is typical. No games on Christmas Eve. So go and spend time with your family or your loved ones or whatever. So no games Christmas Eve. So no games tomorrow. The Bulls do not play on Christmas. Christmas is a packed day of games. I also know the NFL is playing, which is weird. We're gonna have NFL games on a Wednesday. So good luck with that. I will personally be watching all the NBA games, pretty much from 11 a.m. Central Time to pretty much midnight is gonna be NBA. So I that's my Christmas gift to me. Very happy just to watch games. So go watch those games. The Bulls then play again on the 26th. They face Atlanta. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this, that I am not gonna be streaming on the 26th. My friend David's coming into town, and I'm gonna be hanging out with him. I don't know how long I'll be with him that day, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just be safe and just say, hey, I'm not gonna be not be able to stream on the 26th. I may not even be able to watch the game, honestly. But I'll probably be able to watch the game. So just letting you guys know that now. So no stream on the 26th. Go be with, loved ones, family, etc. That's probably best case scenario. Anyway, so I know we'll have basketball back on, but no stream then. Bulls then play Milwaukee on the 28th. That's when streams will resume for my stream. overall. So that's the update. Oh my God, Charles. Oh my God. Wow. Thank you for that's Australian, I'm assuming, $20. Thank you so much for the super chat. Big thumbs up to Charles in the super chat. Thank you so much, Charles. Charles, you've been an absolute amazing add to the community. Thank you so much for being in almost every stream so far. And I truly do appreciate all the commentary and just sticking with me. So thank you so much, Charles, for that. I truly do appreciate it. Just want to make it clear, don't ever feel like you need to, don't ever feel pressure to donate to me. But all donations I do truly appreciate. Just everyone just watching is just enough for me. I feel very appreciative just for people watching. So, but I do appreciate that, Charles. So thank you so much. Merry Christmas to everybody. If you're celebrating any holiday, just happy holidays to you. Whatever you celebrate. Hope you have a good holiday season. And yeah, we'll be seeing each other after Christmas. So, Merry Christmas to everyone that celebrates. And then if you celebrate something else, happy holidays to you. Hope it's a good celebration for you. And hope it's a good holiday season for you. I won't lie, for me, it's been a little rough so far, but yeah, hopefully it's gonna be a good Christmas. Rob, thank you also to you. I just want to say thank you to you. It's been, I know you're also new to the community this year. Thank you so much for just coming to the community and being in a lot of the streams. Yeah, I'm really happy with how the people that have been joining in on the streams this year. It's been a lot of fun meeting new people on stream and just getting to interact with different minds on the game. So yeah, thank you so much for everybody that's been checking out the streams. I wish I could just kind of give you guys donations, but I'm not very rich, and I don't know how I would do that to all you guys. But thank you guys so much for everything. It's been a lot of fun this year. Yeah, and we'll just be continuing as the season goes on. Thank you again, Charles. That means that really means a lot. Thank you so much. Most slept on pod. Thank you. I don't know if I'm the most slept on pod, but I do think that I am. I guess in terms of the Bulls content creation community, I do think that we have room to grow, and I'm looking forward to try to hit that growth as I just continue doing this. I mean, this is honestly, I'm being real. Like, this is obviously not my main job. Like, I can't just live off of this alone. I don't make enough money to just live off of this alone, but I get to do this whenever I want to, and I don't get paid a lot. Like, if you guys are wondering, like, from ad revenue, I get basically paid $1 per stream. But just the fact that I'm even getting paid $1 per stream via ad revenue is awesome. So like, that alone has basically, just from you guys just watching the streams, and then in the off season mostly like watching the videos, you guys given me the opportunity to do what I love pretty much anytime I want to. Pretty much after every Bulls game, or even when there isn't a Bulls game, I get to do what I love. So thank you guys a lot. This is possible because of you. You know, we hit the 1,000 subscriber mark in the off season, which was what I needed to get to be monetized. And we already had the watch hours. Like, we already had the watch hours to be monetized. So that just shows you that you guys have done pretty much a big grunt of the work for me personally when it comes to be able to do what I love. So I hope that in return that I get to do what I love, but that you guys also get to come into chat and talk about what you guys love as well. I hope that I make the environment and community a place where people get to come in and talk about what they love. So I hope that I'm doing that so far. I know I have work to do. I know I have growth to work on and everything, you know, anything you could say, but I'm proud of my growth so far, and I hope I can continue doing it. So thank you guys a lot for everything when it comes to this channel. One day you'll be at Bulls Media Day. I hope so, man. That would be awesome, just to be at Bulls Media Day. Probably not going to happen anytime soon, but I do hope that does happen at some point. Don't know when that will happen though. I think it'll be way down the road if it ever does happen. Um, but still though, I mean, either way though, this alone, what I'm going to do right now is awesome. Like, I hope that you guys understand that. Yeah, it doesn't pay a lot, but to me, it's not about all money. Um, it's the fact that I get to go ahead and do this, and I have an audience for it is awesome. Yeah, it's all you guys. Thank you guys so much. I truly do appreciate it. All right, y'all. That is my goodbye though. For tonight. So Merry Christmas to all of you that do celebrate it. Happy holidays to everybody. If you're celebrating something else, that is. I hope I'll be have a good celebration with that. But yeah, I will be celebrating Christmas. So I'm gonna guess a lot of everyone else is gonna be celebrating Christmas. So if you have loved ones, take care of them. That's all I'm gonna say. I do think it's important, especially at this time of year. So quote a Linkin Park song, you never really know what you have until it's gone. So yeah, go be with your loved ones and just see them and just talk to them. I think that's always important to everybody. So even if they don't realize it just now. So I do think it's a very important thing to do around this time of the year. So that's just my one recommendation to everybody. Just go and just some way, shape, or form, go talk to your family, your friends, your people that you just truly do care about. At the end of the day. All right, y'all. Thank you all for the stream. It's been a lot of fun, and I'll see you guys not the 26th, not the day after Christmas, but I'll see you guys on the 28th. All right. Peace out, y'all. Have a good holidays. Thank you.